Hello, CircuitPythonistas. This is Cooper, aka Relic SE, and today I'm going to show you what I've been working on. I was going to demonstrate on show and tell, but I think it got pushed back this week. That's okay. So what I have here is a guitar, 2, a cable, and 3, a guitar pedal with beautiful Blinka on the pedal there. So this pedal is running, you can't really see, but it's running a Raspberry Pi Pico 2, the RP2350, a TLV320 AIC 3204 DAC, or audio codec, which is basically an ADC and DAC combo. And that's basically what's taking our audio in through a preamp to the DAC, or the ADC, and then out of the DAC through another preamp, which gets it all to line level, and then back out to an amplifier, and so on. And the codec's really nice because you can mix both your analog and your digital signals together and do a lot of fun stuff. Heck, you can even do filters and stuff, even though we're not doing that today. But what we're also doing, you'll notice I have input, but I have nothing going on in the output. That's because we're also using USB out to the computer, using the new USB audio module. So this whole project is a combination of the new bidirectional or duplex I2S operation that was recently added, and USB audio. And that's actually pretty cool because if you're plugged in over an active USB connection, the code I have kind of automatically figures that out and works it as a USB audio interface. But if you're not, then it boom, pipes out to an amplifier. And actually, I've been pretty impressed with the sound. So this is clean, right? I'm not going to play anything super special. And then why don't we turn on our effect? This one right here, this is flanger. And yes, we do have beautiful PWM LEDs. I can't remember, but they do things. That's cool. So there is about, at this point, like 10 different effects on here, all powered by CircuitPython, using the different audio effects we've had available, which previously we could only really use on Synth.io and, WAV files, MP3s, etc., other kind of static audio sources. I guess technically you could have used it on some other stuff, but now what we have here, it's all processing live, right? So we have our live signal with our I2S in, and then that's going into the device and then coming out, normally through I2S out, but in this case through USB audio. Pretty funky. And honestly, the latency is really good. It's kind of bad here because USB audio, you're going through your computer. Your computer's got different programs, different buffers. It gets a little extended. But in person, just straight through the pedal into an amplifier or whatever, there's very little latency. I've been very impressed by it, surprisingly. Okay, now we're not done with this pedal. It has more tricks up its sleeve. I forget what I can do with that, but I can do some stuff if I hold down that button. But if we hold down both buttons at the same time for about a second, it loads up. Okay. I can't remember what the flashes mean, but I think we're ready. I don't remember what this one is. Probably a phaser. So all these knobs are just using standard ADCs. We might be clipping just a little bit. Okay, so that's really cool, right? And I'll show what I have so far for this library and everything and all the different programs. But let's move forward because I have a lot of ideas to expand this even further using you know, like I want to like be able to track the guitar and like play synthesizer sounds or do other, you know, talk boxy things. You know, we're gonna get to that eventually. But right now, this is basically using the standard effects. Let's see what the next one is. Oh, okay, this is the echo. Each program, I have different controls, you know, to like kind of mimic what would be most likely for that kind of pedal. I kind of forget what they all are. But that's definitely, this is going to be your like feedback, your regeneration. This is your mix. And this pedal's, and then the last one's your time, right? Cool. I have it, the hold button. If you hold down the left button, it'll sustain forever, which is kind of cool, but you can get a little funky. Pretty cool. Of course, you can go back to dry. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, and the next effect we have is reverb, which is powered by Freeverb, I believe. And this is something that Mark Gambler, I believe, added into the library CircuitPython core a while ago. So this is just emphasizing that. Now, one thing I will say about this is the Freeverb algorithm is definitely a little bit more costly. And I believe the pedal is running at either 48 kilohertz or 44.1 kilohertz. And it can get a little tough on it. So what I've done here is actually overclocked the Pico 2, which it handles pretty well. I believe to the standard overclock, but don't quote me on that. Anyway, let's hear it. So here's our dry. So what we have is a few knobs here. The top left is room size. Middle is dampening, which you'll hear in a little bit. Damping, right? Which affects kind of the tonality of the reverb. And then the top right is mix. So let's go ahead and bring that to about 50-50. Now you can really hear it. And then let's, these two switches, they control filters that go before the reverb in order to like help shape the tonality of reverb. Let's go ahead and put those in place. Okay, this one's a high pass filter, I believe, and it's pretty aggressive. I'm gonna take that one off. This one is a low pass filter. It's definitely in there, but it's not as strong. You might want to make it stronger, actually. And then let's bring that room size up. Now, it'll have some weird effects every now and then. So let's bring in the damping. This is damping all the way. You see how it's kind of muffled when it comes back? No. And then let's bring up the damping. Totally different character. And let's take it down. So that was mixed all the way up. Now the knob on this one, let's say you have a lesser room size. The knob will bring in, push that room size all the way to 1. Sorry, I'm trying to play with one hand. Cool, and that's it for reverb. So the next effect is really simple. It is tremolo, which is basically controlling, like imagine you have a speaker and you have your volume knob. You're just taking that and twisting it back and forth, right? So in this case, when you're actually using the pedal output, so if you're plugged into an amp with the output right there, what it'll do is it actually uses the gain control built into the audio codec to control that volume. So CircuitPython's actually not processing the signal at all, which I think is actually kind of cool because it makes it really clean as much as possible using that codec, and it sounds surprisingly smooth. It uses SynthIO LFO for this. It does some tricks for the codec version to do it. Now, when it's using USB, it actually uses audio mixer and it's level with a block input being the LFO in order to control it. So let's turn it on. Well, dry signal, right? And you'll see the LED indicates the level of the signal. So the left is the intensity, so I can bring that all the way up. I take it back, it's a rate. Cool. The right must be intensity. So we can make it more subtle. Really intense. And then middle is your waveform, which right now it's like a triangle probably, or sine. And I think this is the sine actually. And then it goes into sawtooth. You can hear it kind of popping a little. Let's bring it. You can really tell it now. And then to kind of more of a square wave. Bring that up and it'll get a little choppy. Pretty cool. Now, the moment y'all have all been waiting for, distortion. You can't have a guitar pedal without having distortion, right? So this is dry signal. And let me turn this sucker on. We have 3 different knobs here. The left one is kind of a tone knob. I don't have it perfected, but it's really just a low pass right now. I'm gonna bring that all the way up so it's bright. The middle, I believe, is level. So we're gonna need to control that, especially going digitally right now. And then the right is drive. So if I bring all that down, we have a pretty standard signal. I control the level. This knob. And then let's bring up drive. You can hear it now. Sounds pretty good. It's actually kind of fuzzy. Okay, and then let's control that with this right here, which is yeah. So you hear that? You can definitely tame the beast a little bit. These are actually used as distortion mode selectors, right? So it's kind of a binary thing. So 0, 1, 2, and then 3, right? So let me refer to my info here. So 1 is overdrive, which I have to admit, I don't really have this one perfected yet. I think, well, okay, so let me go ahead and go over this. The left button is a boost, right? It gives it, I think, a 12 decibel boost. See how the light got brighter? And now we're getting some of that overdrive. With overdrive, you really have to control the pre-gain into it in order to like get the most out of it. Cool. We can make that brighter. Cool, sounds great. The next one we have is wave shape. And so that'll be turn this one off and this one off on. So this is your second bit, and this is your first bit. This is this one gets really intense, kind of fuzzy, I would say. Pretty fuzzy. And then the last one, which is all this on, is going to be the bit crush mode. In this, your drive actually controls the number of bits that are allowed through. So if I have it all the way down, I believe it does 14-bit, and then all the way up is like 3 or 4-bit, I believe. So let's you can really start to hear it at the end. Sounds okay. I don't know. Maybe that could use some improvement. But that's it. That's the distortion. The clip mode especially sounds really good in my opinion. Cool. Okay, now here's another really cool one. So CircuitPython actually has 2 different pitch shift effects. In this case, I think we're just using the standard, which uses a windowed looping pitch shift thing, which I think works pretty well for guitar. There's also a granular one, which I'm not as well versed on. It's pretty new. So what we have here, the first knob is mix, second knob is level, and the last knob is your actual pitch shift, right? First switch controls whether you want a fluid pitch shift, so it's just reading the raw value and you can go between notes, etc. And that's really good for like detuning if you want to like very slightly take the pitch out. And then the second one, when you turn that on, it turns on like semitone mode, so it kind of rounds the knob to different notes. And then the last one just doubles your range, right? So standard range is full up 1 octave and then down 1 octave, and then you turn this on and it's up 2 octaves, down 2 octaves, right? You gotta double your range. Okay, let's hear it in action. So I'm gonna start with level up. And then this is fully dry. This is 50-50. And you'll notice I have the chromatic. So it's like just, 1 note off, 1 semitone. If I turn that off, so it's kind of the floating point rather than the fixed semi. I can get that slight. I'm impressed. Okay, but let's turn it on to go to chromatic mode, and let's go up an octave. So there's going to be some odd, like artifacts and stuff when you're doing this. And you can still hear the original guitar tone as well as the pitched up. If I go all the way mix 100%. So it sounds a little robotic. And then let's go down an octave. Pretty good, but like I said, a little robotic. But let's 50-50 mix that. And then what else we want to do? We want to double it, right? So let's do 2 octaves down. And if we hear that in action, it kind of struggles a bit, but I think most of these, like I've used a good number of pitch shift pedals, and honestly, this isn't that far off. Let's bring it up 2 octaves. Almost sounds like a clock. And then let's 50-50 it. I think the next step here would be maybe to, and this might be like a different type of pedal, is do like a harmony pedal where it like you play 1 note and it plays like a full octave or something. That'd be really cool. Okay, let's keep the chromatic mode on and let's try to find. So this is, right? Let's go up 5 steps to find the 5th. That's 5. Let's go up to 7. It's something. This is a unique noise sound. I think this in combination with like distortion or something like that sounds really good. But for now, that's that. Okay, the next effect I have, I think, is really important, and it's the multi effect, right? So, and this kind of demonstrates how, you have the basis here, but you can take, your creativity or exactly what you need. You could have this pedal be like your entire chain, theoretically. Use your creativity to design a program, an effect program that fits your needs, right? So, right signal, right? I'm gonna turn it on. Each knob is a mix knob. So the effect itself is kind of preset to be what I want it to be. And then we just blend it into our signal, right? So there's 3 effects here: phaser, distortion, and then delay, right? So if I turn this on, it's still basically dry, right? And then let's bring that phaser in. Not bad. It's pretty smooth. But if I want it to be a little bit more intense, I can use this switch here to increase the resonance with a feedback. Pretty cool. So let's take that out. And then let's bring in the second knob. Now, this is distortion. And I've set this up, I believe, to be a pretty good value. I'm going to start here. Take that out, and then let's bring in the delay. Ooh. A little strong. So let's get a reasonable value, and then let's combine. Let's do distortion 100%. A little less delay. And then let's get some phaser in there. By the way, I believe this switch, let me bring this down. This switch is a filter on the whole circuit just to like take out some of that harshness. Versus. Yeah. So I'm going to keep that up, and I'm going to bring in the phaser, and we're going to make a cool lead sound. I'm not good at leads. That's pretty cool though, right? So we went from this. All with one pedal, right? Now I probably need to go in there and tweak. I feel like the output is a little low. Probably tweak the gain on distortion or something like that. But you can do all that within the code, so it's pretty cool. Well, I hope that gives y'all a good idea of the kind of power we're playing with CircuitPython now. There's been a lot of audio updates, and I'm really excited because it's making stuff like this possible. And I mean, you could take this to the nth degree. You can do karaoke machines that echo your voice in real time. I know there's like the ting effects that has support for CircuitPython now, which is pretty cool, and that kind of does the same thing. I don't know, there's just so much you can do. You can mix a keyboard and then have like audio input into like a vocoder system and have all that go through effects and then record onto your computer. Possibilities are endless, and I think that's really exciting. And this pedal right now, it's just a one-off prototype, but I have been working really diligently on creating kind of an effects pedal module that you can just put in whatever kind of pedal situation you want, right? And it has, here's where you put the input, here's the output, here's where you put all the potentiometers, here's where you put your buttons, everything, and it's just ready to go, right? That is the next step, and hopefully I can share that whenever that is ready. Okay, thank you for your time. Bye.